So we finally made it to the public gym. I went at 11 p.m. on a Sunday, so I was expecting the gym to be empty, but still had a few people in it. This is my first session at a public gym for a few weeks at least. Definitely the first time since I moved across the world again. It's something that I'm making a habit of. But this gym's pretty well equipped. A lot of good equipment. A bit of different equipment, so it's a little bit awkward. I have to get used to how the new equipment works. For certain exercises, obviously, barbells and benches are going to be pretty much the same wherever you go. But there are still some differences. Like, I don't know, the bar at this gym felt heavier than the bar I have at home, even though both are supposed to be 20 kilos. And the weights at this gym felt lighter than the weights that I have at home. I don't know, it's just strange, something that I noticed. But it was weird, I don't know. It felt a little bit awkward setting up the camera as well, trying to find a good spot for it that wouldn't be too obvious or disturbing to other people. I just wanted to be a bit discreet. The camera angle's not that good, but just trying to make do. So I'll probably find a better angle the next time I go. But anyway, with most of the with the main exercises, the split squats and the single leg RDLs, I went up in weight and I reduced the volume slightly by 1 rep per set. The weight went up by 2.5 kilos, so the working sets were 37.5 today. So still going, still building up that base of work. And yeah, it's interesting because at home I've got fractional plates, which are 0.5 of a kilo, so they allow me to make really small incremental jumps in weight when I need to. But at the public gym, they don't have fractional plates. They have down to 1.25 kilograms, which is fine for most exercises, but sometimes when you need a more incremental change, that's when you're going to need fractional plates. So I can see myself probably in the future, at least, bringing a set of 0.5 kilo plates to the gym in my bag. I just got to make sure I don't forget them and I don't leave them there. But the split squats today honestly felt terrible in terms of my anterior pelvic tilt. It looks pretty bad in the working sets. You'll see now, as I've taken off my hoodie, that I think it's because I'm really tight in the quads and hip flexors and in the lower back. And when I got into the split stance position, the anterior pelvic tilt was that bad that it looked like my stomach was sticking out, like I almost had a belly, like a beer belly. But that's just you can see it now. That's the case with my pelvis being tilted. So I don't know. It's something that it's not going to be fixed overnight, but I have to bear with it. I have to do the exercises anyway, and I got to keep working on my mobility and the myofascial release to get that right. And the other thing with having an anterior pelvic tilt in the split squat exercise is ideally you want to feel the exercise in your glutes, but I think because of my anterior pelvic tilt, I was struggling last night. Well, I was struggling, and I think it's because of the anterior pelvic tilt. So I could feel the exercise mainly in my quads, which is not a bad thing. Obviously, the quads are working. That's one of the main, the primary movers. But usually when I'm in good posture and loose and mobile, I can feel it in the glutes. But that wasn't the case. So, I'm recording this one day later, but my glutes are a little bit sore, but not as much as usual. So, it just reaffirms that my positioning wasn't that good. My lack of range, lack of mobility in the hips is affecting the workout a little bit, but like I said, I just got to work on that. The RDLs that you've seen a little bit, they also felt terrible because of the anterior pelvic tilt. If you can imagine a bucket of water and you're tilting that bucket forward so that water's coming out the front. That's what it feels like. And basically it means you've got tight quads and hip flexors and a tight lower back and loose or weak hamstrings, hip extensors basically. Now, and the glutes as well. The basic premise though is it's not as simple as that. It's basically a relationship of length and tension in both sides, both muscle groups that affect the hip, so the flexors and the extensors. And it's not as simple as just strengthening this or just stretching this. You've got to do both, because the relationship between the two muscle groups, the agonists and antagonists, for people who are in that, the human movement space and who know the jargon words, agonist is the muscle that's moving, antagonist is the muscle on the opposite side that lengthens as the agonist contracts. But the relationship is ever changing because we're always moving, training. We're always putting these tissues under load, so they will tighten up, they will loosen up, and it's not a one-size-fits-all fix for everybody. So I might make a dedicated video for that later about like my mobility routine, how I'm going to try and go about fixing my anterior pelvic tilt, or at least minimize it or reduce it. It's probably going to be impossible to fix it entirely because of the nature of my training. And the thing is with the split squats as well was I didn't go down as comfortably because of, not feeling, I didn't feel I don't really ever feel comfortable in the bottom of a split squat. I think I said that in a previous video, but it was just even worse today because, of my posture and just not being in 100% good movement, for like range of motion. But you can see me setting up the RDLs and it's the same deal. So I didn't feel comfortable going all the way down. I tried my best, but when I got to the bottom where it was fully horizontal and parallel to the ground, but I felt like trying to force the range and trying to force the end of the movement going all the way down wasn't going to be a good idea. I've made these mistakes before and I'm learning from that. So I didn't want to force range that wasn't there. And like I said before, if you're not able to get into a certain position, then you're not going to get a training stimulus for that position. So if it's actually relevant to not just weight training, but in sports as well. If you don't have the physical capability or range of motion to achieve a certain posture or perform a movement required to execute a skill, there's no way you're going to do that under pressure. There's no way you're going to do that in a match. Doesn't matter what sport it is. If you don't have the physical ability to achieve that position and perform that movement effectively under no pressure, well then under pressure you're going to be even worse. So I think that's something that's neglected by a lot of people. Not many people put these pieces together in their thought process. And it's, part of the reason that I choose these exercises is because they make it very apparent when there's, a missing link or a weak link in the chain of all the variables that you need to perform the movement effectively. They're very good exercises for knowing or for helping you to identify parts of your physique or parts of your, let's say, how should I describe it? The integrity of the relationships between muscle groups in your body. So these exercises help you identify when the relationship between certain muscle groups in your body is not what it should be. If you've got an anterior pelvic tilt, you'll realize because it will affect the way you perform these exercises. with other exercises, it may be easier to get away with doing the exercise with bad posture. But with these specific exercises, it's very difficult. And even more so when you're videotaping it, because, the video doesn't lie. So, yeah. Apart from the RDLs and the split squats, they were good. They've been the more consistent part of the program so far. But the machine exercises has been something that I've left for the past 3.5 weeks at least, mainly because I haven't had access to machines. So it was a bit weird, and honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do going forward with the machines at this public gym. And you'll see it on the video. I had to drastically reduce the volume for the leg extensions and hamstring curls because, I just wasn't sure how sore I was going to be the next day. And so now you can see me climbing onto the leg extension. So it's a hammer strength isolateral leg extension, which is good that you can work one side at a time. But the thing is, 15 kilos felt heavy. And on the machines at the previous public gym I was going to before I moved, 15 kilos did not feel anywhere near as heavy as that. So there's something going on with the leverage. Maybe it's because the machine that I was using at the previous gym was a pin-loaded machine. It had a pulley, and that changes the leverage, makes it easier. That's probably what it was. But the thing that I'm not sure about is when you go to the hamstring curls, which you will see in a minute, 15 kilos felt much lighter. And usually, it's the other way around for me. Usually on the hamstring curl machine, the same weight would feel heavier than on the leg extension because my quads are stronger. So I think there's something going on with the leverage of the machines, which is annoying because it throws off the numbers a little bit, and I don't know exactly how to program the weights. It's not as straightforward. But what I will do is look at the other machines at the same gym that are also for leg extensions and hamstring curls. Maybe the leverage on those is a bit more forgiving. It definitely was for the Adductor Machine, which you will see at the end. But yeah, I'm not sure if I liked the quad, the leg extension machine there. It was just very, very awkward. And the position of the seat and where your knee ends up in relation to the pivot that spins the arm holding the weights. Usually the middle of your knee has to be directly in line with the center of that moving arm that you can see there, where the joint is. But in this gym and the way this is set up, I wasn't exactly sure how to adjust the machine. Even if you can adjust it, I don't know. But my knee wasn't exactly in line with it, and it didn't feel comfortable. So this is definitely a question mark over this exercise for me on this specific machine. I'm going to look for alternatives. Otherwise, I might just stick with reverse Nordics. Now you can see me going onto the hamstring machine, which was much better leverage-wise. My knee was more in line with the center joint, where you can see where the arm is rotating, and that felt much better. 15 kilos felt much lighter than what 15 kilos felt on the leg extension machine. So I like the leverage a lot better for this machine. Again, like the leg extensions, it's isolateral, so you can work one leg at a time, which is good for me to minimize any imbalances. Again, the camera angles aren't the most flattering. I was just trying my best to put the camera somewhere where I could be seen, but also not disturb the other people doing their workouts. So yeah, it was an interesting experience to say the least. But again, it was my first session, and I apologize for the lighting. The camera pointing upwards means that you're going to get some of the lights that are pointing downwards going directly into the lens. And, it is what it is. I mean, when you're at the gym, the lighting's fantastic. You think that you look like Thor or something because, all the lights, they catch all the little, like, the lines in your skin, or they exaggerate it. You look more shredded than you actually are. But anyway, I digress. So, the the hamstrings machine felt good. Like the leg extensions, I actually only did 2 sets on these. I just wanted to see how I would feel the next day. And, this is me learning from my experience, not rushing. I don't want to overdo it and be really sore, and that throws off the rest of my training. And now we get to the adductor machine. So this was very interesting because I'm assuming the plate numbers are in kilograms. If they're in pounds, that might actually make more sense, but I doubt it because everything else is in kilograms in this gym. So I'm pretty sure this machine has a quad pulley setup, a quad pulley. So the more pulleys there are, the easier it is to move more weight because you have more leverage. I don't know the exact physics of it, but I know that that's what happens. So at the previous gym, where I'm pretty sure it was only a double pulley, it was only 2 pulleys, was, I think, doing 30 to 35 kilograms. But on this machine, I was doing what it said was 61 kilograms. It had very weird intervals. It went up in like intervals of 7 or something for some, or 6. It was very strange. It didn't go up in 5 like most other machines. But it felt good, to be honest. I like the adductor machine at this gym. I did 3 sets because, my adductors didn't feel like they were that challenged by that weight. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to push it more. But it was an interesting first workout. I definitely got to go again, take my time, try the different machines, which you'll see in not the next training vlog, probably the next one when I go back to the gym. We'll see. Maybe I'll do 2 workouts a week at the gym and maybe 1 at home. I don't know. It just depends on the scheduling. But yeah, it was, good and bad things in this workout. It's a little bit boring at the start when I'm just building up everything again, especially with the split squats and the Romanian deadlifts, where I'm not hitting maxes. Like I'm not doing a 1 rep max or a 3 rep max or a 5 rep max or anything like that. It's just the foundational work that it's gonna prepare me to hit those heavier weights later on. But good signs for my adductor. Like that was a weak point for me when I was playing football. Good signs, but still a lot more work to be done. I like the setup at this gym, and I think going forward, they've got some other machines that I want to try for other exercises. Especially, they've got a plate-loaded hip thrust machine, which I want to go there when there's no one there, take my time, look at the machine, try and figure out the best way to set it up and adjust it so that I can shift some serious weight, because the hip thrust is by far my strongest exercise, as it probably is for most people. I think my personal best for hip thrusts, if I remember correctly, was maybe 220 or 240. So yeah, 240 kilos, I think. That was probably the heaviest. Maybe 220. I'm not sure. But for reps, it wasn't just 1 rep. It was probably 220. I think I've done 220 for 3 quite comfortably. But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying the variation of hip thrust machine that they have at this gym. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey. The gym has some good recovery facilities as well, like a sauna, although I don't think I'm going to take my phone in and film in the sauna. I might. I don't know. We'll see. But the next workout's probably going to be at home. I just wanted to get a feel for the gym. I'll do 1 session of the machine exercises and 1 session of the Nordics, reverse Nordics at home per week. And then as I add in the extra workouts as the program progresses, simplify it to 3 exercises per session, then you'll see a lot more videos more often of me in the gym. But anyway, that's all for today. Thanks, guys. Like and subscribe if you felt this video provided you with any value that you could take going forward. And I'll catch you in the next one.